Well, hello everybody. This is Dr. Troy Dukowitz of the Commit and Go podcast, where we encourage you to make big commitments, take big action, and create big ass results in your life and business. Today's topic is this: my kids are singing. I think I'm going to miss it. So this is the end of my journey in San Diego, California. And if you've listened to any of these previous podcasts, this is kind of the culmination of where it all came to. And I'm literally sitting on my plane. Everything is on time. Everything is rolling. I'm feeling really good. The pilot even says we're probably going to shave 15 to 20 minutes off of our travel time home from San Diego to St. Louis. So I'm really excited that I'm going to be able to get home in time, leave with my family to go to the school where my son, Watson, at 5 years old, is going to be singing first with his preschool class, pre-kindergarten, pre-K class, and then my son Wyatt will sing about 45 minutes later. And he is in first grade. And so as I'm sitting there, we're taxiing down to get to the runway, and as we basically, all of a sudden, we stop. We come to a complete stop. And in my head, I'm thinking, okay, well, this is normal because usually there's planes ahead of you, and you just have to get in line, and you're going to take off. But then the plane shut down, and the pilot came over the intercom system and said, ladies and gentlemen, we have a bit of an issue, some kind of like flight tracker, something like that. That's actually pretty important when you're flying. We have to check into it, and if it's indeed broken, we're going to have to go back to, we're going to have to have it taken care of before we can ever take off. And so we're sitting there, and at this point in time, my stomach just drops to the bottom of my stomach. I'm thinking, oh my God, like I have a limited amount of time here that is like buffer time before this is not going to happen. I'm not going to make it for my kids' programs. And I've told my kids I will always be at their programs. There's no way I'm going to miss. So, and this is me, daddy, not wanting to miss, period. And number two, not wanting to go back on my word. And number three, not wanting any of us to be sad. They would be sad if I wasn't there. I would be incredibly heartbroken if I wasn't there with my family. And so I'm just sitting there, and now I'm like calculating, okay, here's the buffer time that we can have. And then finally the pilot comes back on and says, folks, we have to go back to the gate, and we're going to have this checked out. So we go back to the gate, and I'm texting with my wife back and forth. And this isn't one of those where I'm not angry. I'm not mad at the pilot. They didn't do anything. It's much better to get there safe than dead. So I'm like, I know this has to happen. And yet the other side of it is my heart is just crushed that there's a possibility I'm going to miss this. And so, look, admittedly, I start to tear up, and I think to myself, okay, I can't do anything until they tell me what's going on. So I am just bouncing back and forth, looking at what time it is, and I'm just kind of waiting and hoping that things are going to go in the right direction. Well, finally, they come off about 11:15. They come on the intercom. They say, folks, problem's fixed. We're going to be taking off here shortly. Now, shortly should have been within a couple of minutes. People are screwing around. They're like going to the bathroom, and like people got off the plane, so they lost count of people who got off the plane. And we probably seriously lost like 20 minutes with just them trying to figure this out. So my heart is just thumping, like, you've got to be freaking kidding me. How many more challenges are you going to throw at me here? And then finally, and my head is like, we cannot take off any later than 11:45. And sure as shit, we take off at about 11:44. We're in flight. So I'm constantly bouncing back and forth, looking at the flight tracker to make sure we're on time. I don't want to lose time, and hopefully we're going to gain time along the way. Well, it didn't happen that way. We were literally going to land at about 20 till 5. Now, here's the thing. That's land. That's not get you at the gate. That's not get you off the plane. That's land. Now, I have to go from Lambert Airport. I have to cross the river, the Mississippi River, to get over to Illinois in a drive that on a regular day might take about 40 minutes. I'm going to be landing right when there's rush hour traffic, having to get to his play, to Watson's first performance. So I have to start to strategize. I literally am sitting there in the plane, and I'm going, okay, I need a plan. Like, I need a plan to get off of this plane. Now, I should have sat up front. I had the opportunity, I didn't take it. So I can't do anything about that right now. But I start to just look and go, okay, what is my plan here? What am I going to do to put myself in a position? Like, that's it. I just need to put myself in the position to be able to get off of this plane in an ample amount of time. So I remember there's a woman who I'm sitting in the emergency row. There's a woman who left about, right before the plane was taken off, and there's about 3 rows up, 3 big cabinets up, or overheads up. So I'm okay, I'm going to move my bag. I get up, I take my bag, I move it up 3 compartments. And a woman looks at me, she goes, what are you doing? I said, well, I got to get off this plane as fast as I can. My kids are singing tonight, and if I don't get off this plane like lickety-split when we land, I am going to miss it. Like, I've calculated in my head, I know what needs to be done here. And so then there's a woman sitting in front of me, and because people got off the plane, she's got 2 open spots. So she's sitting in the middle, 2 open seats. I tap her on the shoulder. Hey, if you don't mind, I'm gonna sit in this first seat when we land. I'm going to be incredibly late. I'm going to probably miss my son's play, but I'm going to do everything that I can to get there. So if you don't mind, I'm going to sit in this seat. I'm going to hop out real quick. So if you have to get out quick, man, you're going to have the person to follow because I'm going to get out really quick, and I'm jumping up there like 3 or 4 rows to get my bag. And so like I'm prepared. Like I'm going to do what I can to make this happen to get me off of that plane as soon as is humanly possible. So what would happen is that we would land. I'm sitting in that first spot. I'm that guy. You've seen this person before on the plane, right? Like the bell goes boom, and they're already jumping out of their seat. They got their bags out, backpack off, and they're ready to go. That was me. But the guy ahead of me jumped up right away, blocked me from getting 2 or 3 more rows. And the next person jumped up, and the next person. There was nowhere for me to go. And I look down, and they're talking about flights, and everybody's going to be okay. And I look down, this woman looks at me, and she goes, "You're going to miss your flight, aren't you?" I go, "No, I'm going to miss my son. He's 5 years old, and he sings in 45 minutes. And her husband looked at me and said, "Oh my God, you go first." He got out of my way. He moved to the side. Another gentleman in front, sitting in the seat, says, "Yeah, man, I'll wait. You go." And they just said, "That's the most important thing. You get there, you do what you have to do." And so a couple more people opened up the opportunity for me to move a couple more rows ahead. And then typically I'm the guy who lets everybody go first in order to go. And this time I was getting off that plane and I just took off. And the minute I got off the plane, I literally ran up the ramp, out of the gate, all the way to my car in the airport at St. Louis, all the way, opened up the car while I was running, threw my bags in the car and took off. Now I'm not going to say that I was driving the absolute speed limit that day, but I will say that I was safe in how I was driving. And there was a white truck. I have no idea where this white truck came from, but the guy kept getting in front of me. But he was speeding. And I started to realize it's stupid for me to try to pass this guy. This guy was supposed to guide me. He literally guided me all the way until I had to take one more turn off in Illinois, and he was with me the whole entire way. And I realized he was put there. I don't know how you feel about divine intervention in God, but I think God put him there so that I had somebody to kind of taxi me around to keep me safe as we were driving because I stayed right by this man. And I got off and I drove and I'm texting and my wife is texting me, telling me what's going on. My mom is texting me, telling me what's going on. And I'm going down the road. I finally get close. I just get close. The preschoolers are on. The preschoolers are on right now. Oh my God, my heart is thumping out of my chest. I turn another corner. I can't wait for these 8 cars at a flashing stoplight. So I go left and I go back into subdivisions and I come back out. Now I get behind a truck that decides to stop at every single stop sign. There's no cars around. He stops, looks both ways, looks ahead, looks both ways again. I'm like, are you kidding me? And I just stay on this guy's butt and I finally get to the school. I pull up to the school. The preschoolers, pre-kindergarten, pre-K is getting on the stage. I get out of my car. I put my flashers on in the front of the building and I run into the gym. I walk straight up to the front, turn and see my wife, smile at her. I go straight to the front, so I am front row and center. I sit my butt down on the floor, and I see my little boy there. He's got a Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. He's got a reindeer mask on. He's got his flashing Mickey Mouse Christmas lights around him, and I just look, and I'm waving at him with tears in my eyes, and he looks at me with tears in his eyes. Well, I don't know if he had tears in his eyes. I had tears in my eyes, and he's waving at me and just keeps waving at me. His daddy made it. His daddy made it. This is the most stressful thing, folks, but I made it, and I sat there with tears in my eyes, filming him and taking pictures and just waving at him every chance that I got. And a few things came to mind. After I got to walk away from all this, a few things came to mind. Number one, every step counted. Like, had I not moved up, had I not created a plan to move up in that plane, I would have missed him. In your life, every step counts. Are you taking the steps that are necessary to get to where you want to go? Are you waiting and hoping that things are going to happen? You have to take the steps. Nobody's going to do it for you. Number two, I was committed. I was committed no matter what. I'm going to do whatever it takes to get to my kid. And if I didn't make it to see him, I wanted to know that I had done everything that I could to get there. I committed to him, and I committed to myself, and I committed to my family. So where in your life do you need to make a commitment? A true commitment where you just follow through. Number three, I spoke up. I let these people know. Like, hey, this is what's going on. Now, maybe I could have spoke up more and said to everybody, hey, look, here's the deal. I thought about it. I thought yelling at everybody. But I know other people had stuff going on too. And so I spoke up where I needed to speak up. Where in your life do you need to speak up? You're just not speaking up. You're hiding your voice. You're worried about what other people think, as opposed to just speaking up and seeing what will happen. They supported me because they knew what was going on. Otherwise, they had no clue what was going on. It was just some maniac trying to push his way through the line. And I never lost hope. I never lost hope. The whole entire journey here, I never lost hope. I just kept going. I said, dear God, please help me. Dear God, please get me there. I know I can do it. Please, dear God, please, dear God. I just knew I could do it. I knew I could do it. If I was going to be late, I was going to know that I did everything I could to be there. Even if I walked in and they were already singing one song, I was going to walk in and get to the front of that line. Get to the center stage on the floor so my boy could see me. Where in your life do you need to just keep the hope, keep the faith? And hope and faith, you got to have action. You got to take action. You got to be committed. You got to speak up. You got to remember that every step in your life counts. Now, I don't know where this works for you. I don't know where this happens for you. I don't know how you could use those elements for you. I always talk about body being balanced in business. Right now, I'm just saying, where in your life do you need to be more committed? Where in your life do you know that you need to keep taking steps that you're just not taking? And you need to recommit to those. See, you commit to them and you execute them. Where in your life do you need to speak up more? Where in your life do you need to stop losing hope? And just bear down and do the work. I don't know where it is for you folks, but what I do know is that anything is possible with commitment and perseverance. You can do it too. Now, it could have just as easily went the other way, in which I'd still be sharing a story with you here today, and I'd be a little heartbroken at what would have happened. And I would have course corrected the next time I travel to know some different things. I already know different things that I would do next time. But it worked out this time. It worked out in my favor, and I will not put myself in that position again. So take a look at your life. And how can you use these key elements of every step counting, being committed, speaking up, and never losing hope? And pick one today. Hell, you don't have to do all four. Just pick one today and commit yourself to living that way. That's all I've got for you here today. I am Dr. Troy Dukowitz. If you haven't already, please go check out the commitandgo.com page. Get more information about me, my speaking, my coaching, and just events and happenings that we have in our world. Number 2, if you haven't already, please subscribe and or rate and review this podcast. I'd be incredibly honored if you would share it with somebody you think could benefit from the messages you get to hear here every single day. That's all I've got for you here today. I am Dr. Troy Dukowitz. This has been the Commit and Go podcast, where we encourage you to make big commitments, take big action, and create big-ass results in your life and business. We'll hear you next time.